welcome into episode 223 here on this early spring day here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, United States. I am Nick Hill, as always. From here, I've been enjoying a nice week off, nice relax. I've been spending a lot of time outside Gus, who is down at Rio Branco HQ at the stadium where, from what I understand, Gus, things are not going too hot for our Tigers.
Yeah, Nick. Yeah, I'm going to put my camera on here because I want to show where I am. Beautiful Decio Vita Stadium. Look at this beautiful view. Yeah, I want to put here. Yeah, always nice, to have this podcast on this beautiful standings. Yes, I'm here at the empty and sad and
The,
depressing
the
Decio
view is
Vita.
better than the product on the field.
Oh, 100%. Oh,
And, uh, uh,
100%.
and unfortunately, we're both coming off a loss this afternoon because unfortunately our Vols also took an L this afternoon to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Now, granted, I was actually out and about, so I didn't see that game, so I was not subjected to that particular loss like you were subjected to this loss. And I know, Gus, we were talking pre-show about you really need to you need to rant because not only this loss today. You also are coming off the Derby loss last week, 2-1. That was very frustrating. And I remember that you guys were down 2-0 in
And
both
it
of
should have
those
been
games.
four. And it should have been four. It should have been four. Should have been 4-0. Should have been 4-0.
So, Gus, what is going on with Rio Branco?
Where should I start? I mean, of course, as a lot of people know, I left the club after the game versus Desportivo Brazil. I feel like about a month. Yeah, yeah, almost a month. Next week's gonna be a month, so almost a month. Yeah, and pretty much the reason I left was because I didn't felt how can I say I didn't felt uh, good enough a good environment to work. I didn't feel encouraged enough to work there, so I was pretty much every day feeling stressed, feeling discouraged, felt um, almost like ridicularized, and I was like, enough is enough. I want to go somewhere else, and I left on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Ironically, I left the job, and pretty much 4 days later, I took another job where I'm happy at the Brazil radio station and SB Noticias website. I'm very happy where I am right now. But in terms of product on the field, the team, I comment that on the post game show on the radio station on the game versus Catanduva. The game, the players itself, they are not bad, but collectively they didn't connect. It's the same mistakes over and over and over and over again, and the same problems. And the good things are, Gui Vieira, the striker, the winger, who tries to do some kicks on the outside, and the defense was okay-ish before the derby, but on the derby, everything fell apart. And as I said, when you're bring up the topic, it should have been 4-0. Union Barbarense lost two great opportunities. It should have been 4-0. Second half, of course, some changes on the team by Union Barbarense made Rio Branco scored and be close to draw, but it never felt close. And after that game on Wednesday, I was there at the stadium in Mogi das Cruzes, 4-0, and it should have been 5 and 6. And everybody that came here at Rio Branco Stadium at Decio Vita today knew this team was not going to win. Everybody knew. I knew it. The people working on the bar knew it. The people working on the security knew it. Everybody knew it. Like Marília, they are on top. They're now in first place for a reason. They have a really great coach for a reason. It's no surprise. I thought it was going to be more. 2-0 was good enough. I even suggested talking to a lot of Rio Branco folks, a lot of Bronco fans were like, today I suggested to put some reserves, kind of rest the main players because the game on Wednesday was the game, the decisive game. Today, the loss was already there. The game on Wednesday against Itapirense, if you pull up um, uh, the standings, you see why this game is important. I can pull it for you, but
Yeah.
um,
Okay, I've got it pulled up right now. So see right now, you
I,
guys are in the 12th position right now out of
yes,
16 teams.
yes, and the last two goes to fourth division. But the thing is, Rio Branco is going to play the 13th team, Itapirense. If Rio Branco wins, they're pretty much saved. I don't think they're going to get relegated with 13 points. I mean, but if they draw or even lose, then next Saturday is going to be hell because they're going to play the USAC, the União Suzano, on the road, and they're going to be under a lot of pressure. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to be next Wednesday. I felt bad for the interim coach because it was his first ever opportunity to coach a professional team. He was coaching at the youth level, the under 17, under 15, under 14. So for him was a big opportunity. But I feel bad for him. Really, really feel bad for him.
Absolutely. At least the one thing we do know is because I know that the front office was worried that maybe it was like you being on the not being on the field was the problem or whatever. Like we all
Yeah?
know it has nothing to do with you. So
No,
they're
no,
which is a
no.
complete idiotic mindset and probably is highlights why we're here in the first place because like literally 2 years ago Rio Bronco wins the A4 championship. Last year they were decently competitive. They made the playoffs
No,
if I remember correctly.
yeah, no, they made the semifinals. They were like one goal away on the second half to go promoted. They did really really good. They made to the semifinals. I mean, came really close.
Absolutely. So it's crazy to see the bomb fall out this year because I know um 3 years ago, I know they were in danger of relegation, but they kind of put a run together and got themselves to
Yeah,
the playoffs and almost
yeah,
relegated that
yeah.
season. So, things can change quickly when it comes to this. But man, I'm looking at the goal differential. They're -11 right now, and goal differential, the third worst in the entire league, only in front of that USAC team they play next week, and then the Sport of Brazil.
Desportivo Brasil, the Chinese team, the team that have Chinese ownership.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're
But
pretty much, they don't have any sponsors, they any connection to the city of Porto Feliz where they play the games. Their only purpose is to find young players to sell, to make money to the Chinese ownership group of that team. They're the sole reason they exist.
interesting, and they're probably going to get relegated. How many teams get relegated?
Two, two.
Two.
It's the
Okay.
16th and the 15th teams.
Okay. Cool. All right. So yeah. So as long as you guys can win one of the two next week, I mean, I guess you'll avoid that. But then the question is, what needs to happen to get? Because I know today you guys lost to the number one team in the group. So I guess moving forward, after short
Oh,
term,
look,
just survive.
shout out to my really great friend and colleague, Giovanni Luis, saying hello, Nick. Good night. He's very happy. I mean, he roots for your União Barbarense. He's from Santa Barbara do Oeste. Also works with me for Brazil FM. Also, we are very happy because we had the highest rating of the year and one of the highest ratings ever. On our YouTube, on our broadcast of Desportivo Brasil União Barbarense and Rio Branco Marília. So in terms of work, we're happy. And he's saying, you are the beast. I don't know if he said
Wow.
beast
So
or
you're
best.
so you're saying the audience is following the guy who knows everything about Rio Branco that the team ran off? Color me shocked. You know.
Yeah, he is happy because of Rio Branco falling apart. But going back to analyzing the last three games, Rio Branco is playing all three teams that are on the same area of him. Itapirense the 13th, Osac the 16th, and Bandeirante 11th place. I sure hope so. Rio Branco is out of relegation battle before the last game. if Rio Branco needs to tie or win on the last game of the regular season to escape relegation, I don't know if this team can handle. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, and of course, there's probably zero chance of them getting to the playoffs because they no,
No,
actually, they are they're eliminated. Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Mathematically, yes, but let's be real. Let's be real. I mean,
It's
this
just the
team,
top eight, right?
what? Top eight. Top eight.
Okay, yeah. Well, they can't then because you have to get to 17 points to get to eighth.
I
Or
mean,
how
they
many more
can.
matches?
They still have three more matches, so they
Oh,
can
okay.
still go to 19. But let's be real, Nick. With the way they're playing, we have to at least make 3 points to, be safe from relegation. And, I felt bad for the interim coach, Vitor Barreto. He tried his best. He pulled up, he had 7 players missing, that weren't able to start, so it was a very depressing afternoon here. And now, pretty much dark here at Rio Branco Stadium.
Yeah. So I guess the long term, obviously, you survive. Let's say you survive the next week. Then this off season, what next? Do people in the front office need to be replaced? Because from the
Uh,
outside, it sounds like it.
yes, I'm waiting to make my full opinion after after this tournament is done. I want to make my full opinion. I'm waiting for it to be, over. But the one thing I beg the front office, I beg all the, people, the president of Rio Branco, please don't go to Paulista Cup. Please don't. All the fans are just so tired. Since the Paulista Cup last season, only two wins since last year, since July last year. 2 wins in 24, 25 games.
That's pitiful.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm sorry that Rio Branco is kind of tanked like this, and
yeah,
it's just gotta hope that at some point there can be some magic. Maybe some you guys strike gold on a signing or two in the off season and can
yeah. And
move forward.
the worst part is that Real on the preseason, all the talk was Rio Branco's going to be one of the favorites, and União Barbarense was going to fight to stay in the A3. And now it's the exact opposite. União Barbarense, they had a tie today. I call it before the game. Everybody was like, "Oh, União Barbarense sure is going to win." Sure, it's not an easy game. It's on the road. They're come off 3 hard games, and they tied. It was a good tie, 1-1. They're still in fifth place, but they're gonna get to the playoffs. And their team was that once they get in the playoffs, their fans embrace the team. And for Rio Branco, especially in the front office and the fans, seeing the success of Union Barbarense, especially if you get promoted, things are gonna get heated in Americana.
Yeah, they should. It's like the balls all offseason. I mean, things have been very tense, this offseason because of the fact that Bandy came into Nealon and whooped her ass. I mean, it's you know, stuff like that just can't happen. When you're. I mean, I know Vandy's not technically Tennessee's most hated rival, but like it's our in-state rival. And for y'all, I mean, that's your in-city
It,
rival.
it's like, for example, if Florida made a good run, like goes to the SEC championship or the playoffs, and Tennessee, they had a lot of talk in the preseason, goes not even to the bowl game. That's the scenario.
Yeah, well, that's literally what happened to Florida this year, if you think about it. So, um, yeah,
But yeah,
but
Nick, it's a chaos. Nobody at the front office wants to do an interview. Not the president, not any vice president, not the GM, not the football director. Nobody.
well, I mean, they're terrified of you. That's why. Like they know that you know all the inner workings of Rio Bronco, and that you are going to call them out on it because you've seen how they work behind the scenes, and that and they know that that they're incompetent. Clearly, if they can't put together a winning product on the field, and it seems like to me, right, when they won that championship, perhaps it sounds like there was some complacency that got involved there, and it's just you've lost
I
whatever
think
momentum.
I think the championship in 2024 wasn't the problem. I think it was last year, and not being promoted because of a referee mistake. that kind of made, oh, it wasn't our fault that we didn't get promoted. It was because of a referee mistake. And there were no, why we didn't get promoted, why we came this close, why do we need to
Right.
evaluate?
See, and I hate that. Like when people like claim, oh yeah, there's just a referee. Well, if you play better, then maybe it doesn't come down to a refereeing mistake. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I
it's
sure
like
all Rio Branco fans want is a review on how things are being running here, because it's the same GM and the same director since 2023, and of course we had our great championship, our trophy in 2024. But as you know, Nick, it has been a really bumpy road since from 2023 until now.
absolutely, and and maybe part of it's just you're playing better competition too, heading up from A4 to A3. But as we saw last year, Rio Branco can compete on that level if the front office and coaching and players are aligned. And right now, clearly they're not. So it's um, hopefully things get changed and they can at least avoid relegation. And you mentioned that like if they got relegated, it would be really bad. Like, do you think? Because I know sometimes for teams when they get relegated, it's catastrophic financials. Financially, it's catastrophic in many ways. Just like how catastrophic would relegation be?
A lot, really, really catastrophic. Because Rio Branco is still trying to, because they are. I don't know how you say in English. Do you know when you? I think is a one of the chapter that you do bankruptcy. It's not like you're bankrupt. It's going into like judicial recuperation. I don't know how to describe that in English. It's some sort when you go to bankruptcy to protect your assets.
I mean, that's basically what it is to bankruptcy. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the term. So hopefully they can at least do what they need to do to avoid relegation.
Yeah,
Because that,
yeah. I mean, that's what we hope. We have two finals, Wednesday and Saturday. And because from what we saw today, everybody felt, I mean, destroyed. I mean, I'm going to be one of the last to leave here, and and it was a rainy day, so it was kind of the mood, but it's sad. But let's hope when we do the podcast next week, Rio Bronco is in a better place and maybe out of relegation contention, and we can say happy 2026 on to the next year.
exactly, exactly. All right, guys. But I know there's some other Brazilian sports.
Oh yeah, we have the state championship finals. Uh, Flamengo. I mean, Flamengo, Nick. Flamengo is a soap opera. So you think Flamengo's coach is safe, right? Last year they won
Right.
the South American Championship, the Brazilian Championship. Two great
Correct.
trophies, right? So this year they lost the Brazilian Super Cup and the South American Super Cup. But those are like a one kind of game trophy. It's like in Europe they do the Super Cup between the Champions League and the Europa League champions.
Yeah.
So okay, you lose those two trophies, but it's two games. But after Flamengo beat Madureira, a team from the countryside of the state of Rio de Janeiro, by 8 goals to nil, 8-0, and advanced to their pretty much 6 or 7 straight Rio de Janeiro state championship final, he got fired. Fired. Like, there's no explanation whatsoever. Uh, I mean, compared to just ego. Just ego. Shout out to Simval. Simval, great equipment manager, one of the best, leaving Rio Branco Stadium right now. But I mean, Nick, it's so it's so blatantly. This is a blatantly example how soccer can be something that there's no logic. A coach that pretty much won the two main trophies that you won it last year. There was the idol on the field that also won a lot of trophies when he was a player, that took over when the team was down, that there were not much hope. He won the Brazilian Cup after Tite left, and then this last year they won. Flamengo won the Libertadores and Brazilian Championship, and he got fired. And so Flamengo's president, BAP, has been called egocentric. Jose Boto, the GM, also has been a lot of heat because he was the one who had to deliver the news on a 30-second speech. He will just say, "Hey, you're fired," and it's just crazy how Flamengo, a team that with a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of good players, always find a way to mess up themselves.
Absolutely. And, it's a reminder that, sometimes you have to just accept that the coach may have a bad team. And this is something that I'm having to remind myself, given that this year across the board for Tennessee sports has not been
But
particularly
they don't. But
amazing.
Flamengo doesn't have a bad team. That's the thing. They lost their two first trophies is because Flamengo was the team that had the most games last season. They were really much on their limit, and of course, when they start the season, they're gonna kind of take it slow. Resting some players and why not? But it was a very much premature decision, in my opinion.
It sounds like, and I'm curious to see if they have a fall off because of that decision. And I'm assuming that coach will get rehired somewhere else very quickly.
He there's a lot of rumors he's going to Europe. Chelsea talked to him a couple of months ago. Atletico Madrid might think of him to replace somewhere down the line, along the line, Diego Simeone, because Simeone, he one day have might leave. He one day say, I want to retire, or I want to go to Argentina, or I want to you know go somewhere else. And Felipe Luis, who was an idol as a player at Atletico Madrid, might be a perfect replacement. So
What's interesting is, if he's going to Chelsea, I wonder what Jason Slots would be on it.
he's
Because
also a
that's
former Chelsea player too.
interesting. Well, I mean, if he's going for European clubs, he should have been good enough for Flamingo, but clearly not. But hey, as you said, that's the illogic of
Yeah,
soccer organizations.
yeah, 100%. So just to finalize, so tomorrow we have the two main state championship finals in Novo Horizonte, a city with 60,000 people. They're gonna host for the first time ever uh, Sao Paulo State Championship final. On the first game in Barueri, 1-0. Palmeiras won, but Novo Horizontino lost a penalty. And I really hope they win. It would be nice to see another team from the countryside win the Sao Paulo State Championship. The last time that happened was 12 years ago. Ituano from the city of Itu beat Santos. After that, no other team. Some came close. Agua Santa in 2023. And I think that was only it. Only Agua Santa in 2023 came close.
And that wasn't the team last year that was like top five out of nowhere. I didn't know that was Mirasol.
Yeah, no, that was Mirasol. That was Mirasol. They are the team that always almost get promoted to the first division of Brazilian Championship. They came three times in fifth place. They're this close, and they always fell apart in the end. But Mirasol, I feel like they are this São Paulo State Championship. Mirasol kind of took they punted. They're like, oh, we have a lot of competition. We have Libertadores, Brazilian Cup, Brazilian Championship. So we gotta, they did not get relegated. They stayed. They did not qualify to the playoffs. I think it was a strategy to kind of let's rest now because after the state championships are done, we're gonna get in a period where we're gonna play nonstop. So that's why I think their strategy was let's punt the state championship. Let's not put our best effort there, and let's focus on the tournaments that we're playing, especially Libertadores. Mirassol is playing the South American Championship, so that's where they need to put their focus on. On the other hand, Novo Horizontino winning the Paulista State Championship, they're gonna take it to another level. It's gonna be their first title, their first major title. They're gonna if they beat Palmeiras, also is gonna be historical. So tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Brazil time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, the São Paulo State Championship final. Let's hope Novo Horizontino wins, to kind of the countryside of the state of São Paulo finally win. But to be honest, though, Palmeiras, they always found a way to win. They always find a way to win championships. That's what
Oh my
scares
god.
me.
So I've got the IndyCar race on right now in Phoenix, and there's a literal like dust devil, like a dust tornado, sand tornado, in the outfield of the racetrack right now. It's not on the racetrack, but it's like
Whoa.
right behind the racetrack. That was wild. I mean, it's completely sunny. It's not like real tornadoes, which we've seen plenty of real tornadoes across America the past couple of days, but that was crazy because they have a little bit over 30 laps to go. So, wow. Anyway, well, obviously, I've never been to a desert, so I've never seen one in person.
Yeah. So, and to finalize Brazilian sports and kind of going the perfect connection to our podcast tomorrow, yesterday, we had the game that encapsulates our podcast. Yesterday was a great, amazing sports moment for both of our countries. The opener for United States of America and Brazil in the World Baseball Classic. And Brazil fought it, but there's just the level of talent. Brazil had a high school player in their starting lineup, and America had Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, you name it. So it's
Yeah,
another level.
those
But
Brazilian kids are talented, man. Like they fought very hard in that game. I
of
mean,
course,
shout out.
go ahead, go ahead.
And I know Jason, he commented to shout out Joseph Contreras for going toe to toe with the American lineup. That is the son of Jose Contreras, who was on the 2005 Chicago White Sox World Series team.
Yeah, and also shout out to Manny Ramirez's son as well. Played a really good game.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was
but
very close to being a Vol, but unfortunately, he went straight to the pros.
yeah,
I
sad.
mean, nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, the starting pitcher was Eric Pardinho. He did good. Of course, there were some changes. I liked that I saw former Chicago White Sox pitcher Thiago Vieira pitching as well. Leonardo Reginato was one of the players. So, yeah, I liked the performance, but yeah, the we competed. I mean, the home run in the second inning, that was amazing when we came 2-1. But at the end, there's no the talent level is like, for example, if in the 80s Brazil and US played soccer, it's a whole different level.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, from an American perspective, like yeah, obviously we expect to win a game to win this game. Obviously, for long term, kind of like how Canada was the team that the hockey team was aiming for. For baseball, you're aiming at Japan with Shohei Ohtani right now. And I don't know if I mean obviously this lineup is as good of an American lineup in theory as you can get. Is it good enough though to overcome Otani in Japan? Is the question. And obviously,
I
I
mean,
know there's other talented.
do you saw that crowd in Tokyo? Do you saw how he
Yes,
is playing his A off?
yes. I mean, this World Baseball Classic is really cool.
I think one one thing that I want to go even broader: the World Baseball Classic, the Winter Olympics, um, the four seasons. What is the tournament? 4 seasons. The one with U.S. Canada hockey.
Yes, yeah, every 4 seasons. The Four Nations Classic.
4 nations, 4 nations. The 4 nations, the Winter Olympics, now the WBC kind of show is there. I think the level of nationalism in sports in America is an all-time high. The one thing America was always criticized about was they care about their own leagues and they did not care about their country being represented in the world in sports. Of course, basketball they always kind of dominated, especially after the pros play in basketball in the 1992 Olympics. But now I felt in a matter of pride and kind of like connection to the hockey team, to the baseball team. There were I listened to the radio broadcast on yesterday's game, and there were a lot of chants, USA, USA. I mean, I like that. I think, that's why the WBC is success, and that's why I cannot wait if happens US and Japan face off in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, and at least a good thing for us here is that Otani's not going to pitch in the WBC. But we can't. This is not really a foregone conclusion necessarily as U.S. for Japan because we still have to deal with like Dominican Republic that has players like Julio Rodriguez, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Juan Soto. I mean, you have Venezuela with Ronald Acuna Jr. I hope he doesn't get hurt playing in this. William Contreras and Ranger Suarez. There's still you obviously got Mexico and Puerto Rico. But I mean, really, I would think if anyone's going to prevent USA Japan's probably Dominican Republic or Venezuela would be the two teams that could kind of come in there and perhaps throw that off a little bit. Um, but yeah, it's fun. Like we need more international competitions. And in baseball, the talent is pretty evenly spread out, at least across several of the top nations.
Yeah, I think baseball internationalizes a lot in this 21st century, especially in the Central America and in Asia. And there were even other markets like South America, like Brazil, that I think can be in 20, 30 years can be, I don't say like a powerhouse, but can be decent. I mean, Brazil, it's only in their second WBC ever.
Exactly. And hopefully some of those kids can mature and they'll end up getting maybe into the MLB and continue to raise the talent profile of the country.
Yeah, well, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why Brazil, I mean, their competition is to at least make one win, to at least their competition is not with the USA, is with Italy and Israel.
Yeah, so the next game for us tonight against Great Britain, which I would anticipate us winning. Mexico could be interesting on Monday, Italy Tuesday. So I expect America to win all of those, to be honest with you. Um, and get us to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I don't see America having any issues. Brazil whatsoever, they're gonna have to really play a tough game, and they lost today, 8-0 against Italy. So Brazil is pretty much out. I think,
I mean, you still have
So
two more. I mean, the goal for Brazil is can you pull off an upset somewhere
yeah,
and get
yeah.
one
Brazil
win?
is in the bottom of Pool B in Houston. Yeah, but as I said, if Brazil, I just hope they get one win.
Exactly. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah, but I'm loving this WBC. I'm just loving it.
100%. Now, it is March in America, which means one thing. We are 8 days away from Selection Sunday. It's March Madness is almost here. Unfortunately, though, for our beloved Tennessee Volunteers, they've had a little bit of a rough end to this regular season. Just going back to last Saturday, they had a double-digit lead against Alabama at home. That's when Nate Ament, the star player of the team, the best player on the team, got hurt, and he has not played since. Did not play on Tuesday against South Carolina. Did not play today against Vanderbilt. And the Vols ended up losing that game to Alabama, blowing a double-digit lead there. They did win on Tuesday against South Carolina, who's just an awful basketball team. I don't know what happened to Lamont Paris in that program. I mean, they had a really good team 2 years ago, and it has fallen apart since. And then today, Vandy led wire to wire to win in Thompson Boling Arena at Food City Center, whatever we're calling it. So they lost 3 out of 4 to finish the season at 20. I believe it's 21-10 is their final record in the regular season. Now, obviously, they're still well within the tournament. They'll be either a 5 or 6 seed. Um, the main question for the Vols right now is, when will Nate Ament return? Because obviously now we are going to go to the SEC tournament next week. Which, the question is, does it really matter? Which I will make the argument that it doesn't. Like, I would not play Nate Ament next week. If you have any questions about his leg injury, I would not play him. Do not play them, and see if you can have them ready to go for the NCAA tournament in 2 weeks. Because you right now uh, you have maybe as little as 12 days until you play your first NCAA tournament game, and that's when it matters, right? Because I mean, and obviously a lot of folks are disappointed with how the regular season went. I mean, 21-10. The Vols will probably be unranked to finish the season. Came in today 23. Um, but I mean, you're still a top six seed, and you still had some pretty big wins on the season. Not any really catastrophic losses in terms of like losing to bad teams. Um, and when we were talking about this with some friends about how like yes, this season has not felt great, but I will say it's a product of how far the program has come. That a 10-loss season where you're gonna still be a top six seed feels like a disappointment. Used to, we would celebrate this type of season. Like 10, 15 years ago, we were like, oh, what a great season for Tennessee basketball. I mean, they're a top six seed in the NCAA tournament. They got some big wins. But the expectation now is that Tennessee should be like a top 15, top 10 basketball team. And obviously, this team is not that this year. But it's just a credit to how far the program itself actually has come.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the expectation that's what Nick Barnes came into Tennessee basketball program to do, is to change the mindset, change the perception, change how this program is being viewed. And yeah, and as I said, how many times Tennessee came into March with number one, number two, number three seed and fell apart. Maybe coming in as an underdog will be great for this team.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing: like, should be zero people going into this tournament thinking Tennessee's making the Final Four. Like, no one should predict Tennessee to make the Final Four this year. I mean, it's just not going to happen. At least with the way they've coming in there, they're limping into this tournament. But maybe they can turn it on because all you got to do is go on a run and win 4 games to make the Final Four. We've never done it.
Yes, yes. That's what. That's the glass half empty. I'm half full. Is you know maybe this team being an underdog didn't came in with a lot of expectations. Maybe this team get hot in March because, as we time and time again said on this podcast, regular season is one thing. March Madness is a complete another ball game.
Exactly. And if Tennessee goes on a run and goes deep, there won't be a lot of people calling the season disappointing anymore. I think a lot of it will hinge on what happens in the first round because right now, looking at the bracketology, and I still don't have my laptop fixed, so I'm just looking at it off my phone here. Um, Tennessee right now is projected to be a 5 seed playing
Let me
SF
just pull up
Austin.
I'm pulling up the bracketology.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
I'm
Um,
pulling up 1 second. 1 second.
so you can see kind of where we are right now. Also, it looks like Joseph Newgarden's going to win the IndyCar
Hold
race
on. I
at
have to pull
Phoenix.
up again.
They're on the last lap.
Hold on 1 second. Can you see
But anyway,
can you see the screen?
yes, I can see the screen. Okay, so you can
Not can you
see,
see?
yes. All right, so you can see right now, Duke and Michigan are still 1 seeds. Duke just recently beat Michigan in a game. So if you kind of just scroll down through there, you can see that really not a lot has changed on this bracket. Now, Vandy will probably move up a seed line because I don't think this has been updated since Vandy won at Tennessee. Now, I remember Tennessee did also win at Vandy. So I feel like those wins probably just cancel each other out at this point. Nebraska's a free. Nebraska's going to be a fascinating team. If this actually ends up being a bracket over here, having Miami of Ohio, who is now 31-0, I want to say, because they I believe won last night again. So they finished the season undefeated. They literally won by 2 in overtime, the 110 to 108. So the Red Hawks just keep winning close games. So the MAC tournament is next week. So obviously, if Miami wins the MAC tournament, they'll go to the tournament, no questions asked. But if Miami loses in the MAC tournament, the question becomes: do the Red Hawks get left out of the NCAA tournament because they finished their regular season undefeated? And there's been
Yeah,
a whole
that's a great.
debate.
That's what a lot of people are going to be asking.
Yeah, and there's been some people asking, should Auburn get in over Miami of Ohio? Now Auburn is 16-14 on the season. Uh, However, if you look at Ken Palm, they're 39 in Ken Palm. Meanwhile, Miami of Ohio at 31-0 is 90. Below 12-19 Marquette, below 13-17 Georgetown, and just bare one spot ahead of Hofstra at 21-10 and Notre Dame at 13-18. So in theory, that's kind of the range they're at. So according to predictive metrics, they shouldn't be in the tournament. But I think we can't seriously justify leaving out a team that went undefeated in the regular season, even if they didn't really play anyone. Because Miami, to be fair, did not play a single good team on their schedule. Like I say, like the best win they have, I believe, is Akron, and Akron is like 100 and it's like not even in the 100s. Like Bowling Green's like 148. That's the next team. Like Toledo's 136. I mean, and this is not a resume, a high quality resume.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what a lot of people are going to be looking at the selection Sunday. That's why selection Sunday is what it is.
Absolutely. Actually, if you scroll back up real quick, I want to see the first four outs. Or I don't know where.
Oh,
It
I
might be
think
at the
it's in the
bottom.
bottom. Maybe the bottom.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay, because I'm
Here
trying
it
to
is.
take a look at
Here it is.
this. So you can see Ohio State, Texas A&M, Missouri, Texas. So a lot of SEC teams on that line. So Nashville next week is going to be absolute chaos because you're going to have a lot of teams right there who are desperate. Then you got Santa Clara, SMU, Indiana, New Mexico are the last four in. The first four out are VCU, Auburn, Virginia Tech. And I don't scroll down just a little bit more. I can't see the fourth team. Cincinnati, and then California, San Diego State, Stanford, Seton Hall. So you're going to have four teams at the SEC tournament entering on the bubble. And I think Missouri lost today. I'm not sure what the other teams have done today, but I know Missouri lost. So it's going to be fascinating. Now, scroll back up kind of to where we were. Um, okay, so keep on going down so you can see Houston versus ETSU, Miami. I know they just lost to Louisville. So you see UConn and Arizona, the other two first seeds. Shout out to Tennessee State. They're playing in the Ohio Valley Conference tonight. That's where my dad went to college at, was Tennessee State. So it would be awesome for the Tigers to win and make the NCAA tournament.
Tennessee State is HBCU, right?
Yep, they're at HBCU. They're playing Morehead State tonight. So I don't remember the last time Tennessee State made the NCAA tournament. Of course, right now they're projected to play in the first four. The Ohio Valley Conference has kind of fallen apart as a conference, so there's nowhere near as good. But hey, Tennessee State, it would be pretty cool for them to make it. Also, UNBC versus Arizona.
Ooh, I don't want to be Arizona. Traumas from the past.
I would be terrified. All right, keep on going down here. So you're going to see Tennessee pop up right here at 5 versus SF Austin. Now, SF Austin is a team that has pulled off upsets in the past. I think most notably they were a 14 seed in like 2014, I think, and they beat West Virginia. So they have a history. So that would be a nerve-wracking game. Also, Virginia and North Dakota State, that would be an interesting game as well. And then notice that would be in Portland too. So that would be literally across the country. So that I don't know how many Tennessee fans would
And it's
make it all the way
interesting
out to
that
Oregon.
North Dakota State will have the most advantage geographically to get there compared to Virginia, Austin, and Tennessee, which are all on the east side.
Right. I mean, Austin's in like East Texas, so North Dakota's definitely closer. Um, then you got over there. I mean, California Baptist. I don't know if I've ever seen them in a tournament. I don't know. I feel like that's a new program. But anyway,
Yeah,
versus
completely.
Texas Tech.
Oh,
So,
here, Jason, with information.
see,
Miami
Jason
is
said no.
unbeaten.
I don't care
Go
what the
ahead.
Kim Pom is. You don't go unbeaten by being bad. I agree with that. I think they have earned their opportunity to get in. Well, we will see. I'm very curious to see what the committee does next week if they lose the MAC championship, and like they could lose to Akron. Akron is 26-5 themselves, so that'll be a very interesting MAC championship game. It'll probably be the most interesting MAC championship game ever. Um, I definitely will have to watch that. So you got Louisville down there at 6. They got a big one today at Miami, who was a 7 seed. So that's a good one for them going up against Santa Clara and or New Mexico. And then you can see Wisconsin is there. Wisconsin's had a couple of bad years in athletics, so they needed a good season. You see Texas is in there. You see Bradley and you see Irvine. Those are both teams that Chattanooga beat last year in the NIT, and unfortunately, the Chattanooga Mocs will not be in this year's tournament. They've already been eliminated from the SoCon tournament. They just had a very bad season. We're 13-19. You will not see the Chattanooga Mocs uh, in anything this
I mean,
postseason.
not even NIT. They won NIT last season, right?
Correct, but they were 13-19. They lost everybody from that team.
Oh,
So just
yeah.
last year was a magical season. It will not be replicated. All right. Let's keep on scrolling down from there. All right, you can see Villanova A&M. Florida has like been a very good team since SEC play started. That's a team that they have a chance to go back to back. I really do think Florida has a chance. I'm not sold on Purdue or Gonzaga. Illinois is really good. I'm not sure though about them. But right now, I would say like out of all the teams, it feels like UConn, Florida, Duke, Michigan. I would be surprised if the championship is not one of those four teams, personally. And one team that really got screwed. If you go back up, I think they're a 5 seed is North Carolina. They lost Caleb Wilson for the year, which is their best player. So for North Carolina, it's going to be, I think, difficult for them to really make a deep run because I mean they've lost their best player, a player that they needed to make a deep run. And also, what would be interesting if they played High Point, that and High Point's in North Carolina too, and that game would be in San Diego. So I don't know what we're doing with the placement of cities here, but in any case, that's kind of how things look over there. Also, can you pull up the women's bracketology too?
Yes, I can. But so just to wrap up the men, so the Vols are eliminated from the SEC tournament.
No. Man, everyone goes to the SEC tournament.
Oh,
Um,
so today was the last game of the regular season.
correct. And the only thing that really Tennessee lost out on today was probably they'll probably will have to play on Thursday instead of Friday. Because like basically like they were gonna today they were fine to get a 4 seed in the tournament, but they'll probably will have to be the 5 seed and play on Thursday is the big thing today.
Do you see on the screen?
Yes, I see it. Now, yeah, because Vanderbilt beat them, so Tennessee will be a 5 seed. They'll play either Ole Miss or South Carolina, two teams that Tennessee should beat, and they'll probably will play Vanderbilt again on Friday. So, as I said, today's game, for all intents and purposes, was fairly meaningless for the Vols. I'll be curious to see if the Vols go on a run next week, but like Should the Vols even aim to go on a run in the SEC tournament? You know, like does it really matter to win the conference tournament? Because I know we did a couple of years ago, but like it feels like everyone forgot that even happened because you lost to Michigan in the second round to a week later. You know,
Yeah,
is it conference
that's a
tournaments
good
don't matter?
point.
In fact, we should get rid of conference tournaments. To be honest with you.
I think it's still valid because it helps those little conferences. It's hard. They won't do that because it really ease out. Because if there were no conference championships, how do you determine those 16, 15, 14, 13, 12 seeds?
Well, honestly, I think that there's an argument that these conference tournaments hurt the small conferences, and here's why. Because your best teams often get upset in those small conference tournaments. Like Chattanooga last year. Chattanooga was the one seed in the SoCon tournament, and they lost. And that's why they got to go to the NIT. And of course, they ended up winning the NIT. Um, but, you know, the best teams often get upset in those conference tournaments. And then when you get to the actual NCAA tournament, your best shot of pulling off an upset in the NCAA tournament is gone. And like, look at the MAC. Like, if Miami of Ohio
Yeah,
loses next
hold on.
week,
I give to shout out to my great friend Rafael de Levedove, great Philadelphia Eagles fan. Yes, I am here at Decio Vita Stadium. Yeah, Gus no dever. Yeah, I have to give this big shout out to my great friend, great soccer analyst. But yeah, going back to that thought, because if you reward more the regular season, you reward more consistency than getting hot in March.
but then again, the whole sport, I guess, is built on being hot in March,
Yeah, yeah,
which,
that's
hey, like, it's been increasingly my thought that, do we really reward the best teams in college basketball? Probably not, but that's not the way the sport is built. I mean,
yeah.
Jason
Jason
says
has an
award
opinion.
auto builds to the regular season champs. Problem solved.
Yeah, but how about if there's like a tie?
Well, then have a one-off championship game.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's fair.
Yeah, like I think that would be the way to do it. I don't know. Then again, March Madness is March Madness, but basketball already is kind of a random sport as is. So just have a one-offs. I don't know. Like the here's the thing. Like the older I get, March Madness obviously is an incredibly fun event. Like the first two rounds of March Madness, there's nothing else like it throughout the year. But have you ever stopped to really think about how not interesting like the later rounds of the tournament tend to be compared to like the first two rounds? Um, And like the older I get, the more I'm like, this doesn't really feel like a legitimate way to actually crown a champion. Jason says basketball is unpredictable until Scott Foster is involved. Yeah, yep. I don't know. As someone who wants to see legitimate champions crowned, it's like I don't know. It's a chaotic way to go about crowning your champions. But this is how we've always done it when it comes to college basketball. So you know, I don't know. It is what it is there. I mean, there's a reason why we celebrate like Final Four appearances, because that's an achievement a lot of big programs can achieve, but actually winning the whole thing is a lot harder than that. So I don't know. I don't really know what point I'm attempting to make there, but what I'm saying is I guess the structure of college basketball itself is when you really stop to think about it for more than 5 minutes, it's kind of interesting. But anyway, I know you had the women's bracket popped up here, and obviously our Lady Vols are just in complete free fall mode. Lost in the first round, lost by double digits, and we have a bunch of off the court drama, Gus. I mean, we literally have players leaving the program because they didn't get to start senior day. Did you hear that story?
I mean, from what I see quotes from King Caldwell press conferences, he's really frustrated on the direction what the program is doing. But I mean, venting to the media is not going to solve.
Well, I mean, you can like accuse her of like, oh, like maybe she shouldn't be venting to the media. So if you don't know this story, for anyone in the audience, Kyle Wynn, who was a reserve guard, didn't get a lot of playing time. She left the program because she didn't get to start against Vanderbilt last week, and she thought that she was owed getting to start on senior night. She wanted to start, but then she was like, nope. But like Kim was like, you're not one of the best players, so we're not going to start you. And this girl was just like, yeah, no, I'm leaving. I don't want to play anymore for this team. And it's just like, bro, like you're about to go to the SEC tournament. We'll probably go to the NCAA tournament. You know, talk about putting me in front of the team. Like that's just the thing. I feel like this team, this Lady Vols team, is incredibly selfish. Like this does not feel like a team. And it's part of the reason why they're on an 8-game losing streak right now. Why they've completely fallen apart as a program. And they didn't even win a game in Greenville, and I just doubt they're going to win a game in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they need to. The Lady Vols are like Rio Branco. They're just like, let's finish 2026 and just think about next year. I think the Lady Vols and Rio Branco are on the same path.
Absolutely. So I'm curious where they are in bracketology. So let's just scroll down till we find, because I mean UConn is up there, of course. I mean, because at least some blue bloods can stay blue bloods, I guess. Uh, of course, you can see UCLA is up there. Oh, I see Tennessee. Yeah, they're an 8 seed. Well, they'll lose to Iowa State first round. Audie Crooks will go for 50 against this team. Um, she's like their big center. Like she'll go nuts against Tennessee. Um, and then if Tennessee somehow survives that, they will get absolutely rolled by UCLA in the second round. So I mean, just yeah, just a disaster of a season. I mean, Kim Caldwell could not afford to have one more season like this. Like I think she has earned another off season. She needs to revamp the roster. She may need to revamp her style of play. Because otherwise, if we're sitting here again next year in the same situation, it'll be time for a change. Because this is Lady Vols. We expect this team, this program, to be competing for national championships, to be competing for SEC championships, and not be 16-14 on the season. And it's a miracle they're even in the tournament right now to begin with, and arguably they shouldn't even be in the tournament. Frankly, like I mean,
I
they're
mean,
lucky their schedule is so hard, but
yeah. I mean, the brand also helps a lot.
yeah, the brand helps. But man, it's a flaming dumpster fire, and I don't think there'll be a lot of Lady Vol fans traveling to LA. Just put it like that. So it's just frankly the vibes on Rocky Top are not great right now. Basketball wise. Uh let's just kind of quickly go through the rest of this just to see who else is in here. I know several SEC teams are in there. You can see Duke, Texas Tech, Ohio State. Keep on scrolling down. But of course, as we all know, it's going to come down to UConn, South Carolina. I mean, you see LSU. I mean, Vandy, they're a 2 seed. There. Keep on scrolling down. You can see South Carolina's there, Texas. See the Lady Mocs.
Chattanooga. Might be Chattanooga versus South Carolina. That would be a good game.
Well, if a good game is like an 80-point loss. I mean, I want to say they played last year, and Lady Mocs lost like 110 to like 30 or something. I mean, it will not be a close competitive game. All right, keep on scrolling down from there. Uh, so you got Ole Miss, who's in the SEC tournament semifinals. So shout out to Ole Miss. They're actually having a good season. Scrolling down from there, see Alabama's there, TCU, Louisville is free. And of course, if Louisville plays Alabama, we will all be on the car train through against them. And who would Louisville play down there in the 2 seed? I wonder. Uh, see, Iowa. Okay, and of course, obviously, this is no longer Caitlin Clark's Iowa. So, but Which, I mean, for Iowa Hawkeyes women's basketball fans, I mean, it's got to be a tough knowing they had Caitlin Clark and they couldn't get it done. I mean, granted, they made the national title game twice with Caitlin and lost both times. So, because
But
I,
can this be kind of like, for example, Peyton Manning left the Vols and the Vols won the Natty?
well, that's
Can
also
this be,
true.
can
I
this be
just
kind of like the situation?
until someone beats UConn, South Carolina, and or like LSU, um, I'll have to wait to see that too to truly believe. And that's kind of the problem with the women's tournament is it's just so much more predictable. Like upsets don't happen like as often, and it's. Well, also I want to point out too, Fairfield is who I think is ranked like 19th. They're a 10 seed, so that's a mid-major team to watch out for in the women's tournament. So next Sunday we will know our bracket. Now, some just quick notes from the Diamond. I know the Lady Vol softball team. They're still number one. I know we've talked. It's been a kind of a negative show when it comes to Tennessee sports. So I want to change the vibe here just a little bit and shout out our Lady Vol softball team because they're still number one and they have won another series. They won the series this weekend against LSU. And they are 21-0, Gus. I mean, it's just an insane run that they're on right now. They will continue to just they're continuing to plow through everyone that they play. I mean, it's remarkable what they're doing, and clearly, if Tennessee's going to win their title anytime soon, it's going to be on the softball diamond.
Yeah, for sure. What Ralph Weekly's doing,
Karen,
uh,
yeah, we're Ralph
Karen,
retired.
Karen. Yeah, when I say his name, I was like, I mixed up. Yeah, Karen Weekly is doing a tremendous job and has a great pitching. Yeah, that's true. The softball team is back.
Absolutely. Now, for the baseball team, they're kind of still following their footing post Tony Vitello. They are playing Wright State this week. They won last night on a walk-off. And that's after they had a positive week last week in Arlington. They lost to the number one team in the country, UCLA, 12-5, but then came back and beat Arizona State and Virginia Tech. So they had a good finish there. And I'm trying to see what's going on right now with Wright. They're playing Wright State again this afternoon. I'll try to look this up. Uh, yeah, it was crazy because remember back in 2021 during the first real run under Tony V. Remember they were down late to Wright State and won on an iconic walk off. Do you remember that the Hunter Inslee like just knocked it out of the yard? That ball still never came back down. One of the great moments in not just Tennessee baseball history, one of the great moments in Tennessee sports history, in my opinion. Truly the game that like launched the Tony V era. Truly, it was just an incredible night of Tennessee baseball. So as of last check here, it's 5-4 Tennessee over Wright State. Bottom of the eighth. I'm going to actually put that on my TV here. So Vols going for another series win this week, as we'll be starting SEC play here soon. So I mean, definitely, we can tell the team has taken a step back, but I mean, it's still early. We're going to see what they do when they get to conference play. Um, yeah, so that's really all you can truly say about that right now. But the last thing I want to point out as well is that President Trump hosted a roundtable yesterday regarding the future of college sports, and this included UT Chancellor Donnie Plowman. And the president said after the meeting that he, quote, wants to sign an executive order to interfere to deal with some of the issues afflicting college sports. Which to me, I don't know if I really want in a presidential executive order here. Like it doesn't. I don't know if the issues in college football can be fixed by the government, or if the government should be trying to fix issues in college sports.
Yeah, I mean, the more the government step in, the more bureaucratic things get, or more shaky, or more. Yeah, but at least Trump is trying to get people together and talk about it. That's one thing he had to praise on, because the way the things are right now, there's no leadership. There's nobody like Trump is just trying to fill up a void of leadership in college athletics.
Yeah, so these were his quotes from the meeting. He said, "quote I'd like to write an executive order based on some of the very great talent in this room, and we will be sued, and we'll go before a court, and maybe we'll have a judge that's realistic, reasonable, and wants to do a favor for the country, because that's the only way this is going to be solved. So I'm going to sit down and write an executive order based on many of the statements made today, many of the statements I've been hearing over the last year." About what a disaster this is for the colleges, for the players, for the families, ruining everything. We're going to do a very well thought out executive order that'll be placed before the courts, and hopefully a judge who's a real judge, a compassionate judge, and a judge with common sense will get it
Oh,
approved.
Trump and those crazy quotes.
God, that's it'll be more comprehensive. That was put out as a test, as a feeler. Will be much more comprehensive because of all we have learned over the past 6 months. I think we can do a very good document. I think we can do a document that works from a common sense standpoint. Whether or not it's going to hold up in court, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. Apparently, a lot of the discussion last yesterday surrounded the SCORE Act, which was an act that kind of died on the congressional floor last year. So that is it'll be something that'll be fascinating to see how this moves forward. And that bill's intent was to protect the name, the NIL rights of students and athletes with, to promote fair compensation with respect to intercollegiate athletics and for other purposes. And basically, it would establish federal standards for NIL, regulations for agents representing college athletes, preventing universities from revoking scholarships due to injury or performance, mandating schools to provide specific levels of academic support and out of pocket healthcare coverage for ex athletes up to 3 years, maintaining that schools have a minimum of 16 varsity teams, and restrictions on using student fees for athletes.
Yeah,
So,
great. It's a thought. It's something.
well, my I guess my number one question is just reading it. How expensive would it be to enforce this? And like to me, I don't know. I feel like there'd be several colleges that would not be able to continue doing athletics if that were to be passed. Because
Yeah, that's a good point
especially,
too.
but then again, Title IX's been federal law now for over 50 years, and there's still a lot of schools that are doing very well. But granted, like even at a school like UTC, I mean, they don't have baseball because of Title IX. You know, they have softball, but they don't have baseball. So it'll be fascinating. I'm curious when this executive order will come down. So we will certainly see what they do. All right, let's talk some NFL, Gus, because we've had some very interesting trades over the past couple of days. And I didn't write this one down, but this one came out last night. The Ravens traded their first round pick this year and next year for Max Crosby, Gus. And said just go. And for me, like, I think the Ravens are making a mistake here, in my opinion, because yes, Crosby is very, very good. The Ravens' defense was not good last year. So, yes, he will make the Ravens' defense better. He will help provide compliments to Lamar Jackson. However, I think the Ravens' problems are more than just one player. and trading away two first round picks in the next two drafts, I think that's a mistake for Baltimore. I really do. And I think for the Raiders, you get rid of a player who clearly didn't want to be in Vegas anymore, and Max Crosby, and you're going to get extra support for Fernando Mendoza, as you are also about to get ready to get rid of Geno Smith, which needs to happen. Geno Smith is not good, and as we saw in Seattle, he was being propped up by a competent organization. And as soon as Seattle got rid of a bad quarterback and got a much better quarterback, they won the Super Bowl. Funny how that works. Um, but I do think that for the Ravens, there are they are gonna need to finally get over the hump to justify this. If they still can't make the Super Bowl, if they can't even win the AFC North, because remember they literally could not beat Aaron Rodgers, who was living in a nursing home last year, to win the AFC North. You know, it's put up or shut up time if you're Baltimore with a move like this. If you can't get it done, then we don't want to hear from you moving forward. I mean, you got to get it done if you're going to have Max Crosby.
Yeah, I mean now it's a Lamar Jackson's franchise, 100%. So there's going to be a lot of pressure for him. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Also, I want to shout out too that for Joe Burrow, he has to play Max Crosby twice a year. He has to play Miles Garrett twice a year and TJ Watt twice a year in the AFC North. And the Bengals' offensive line is not good. So good luck with that, Cincinnati, especially if your defense still sucks. The other big trade of the week really was DJ Moore, the wide receiver from the Bears. He was traded to Buffalo, and Buffalo only gave up like a second round pick. However, unlike Baltimore, I think this one makes sense because Josh Allen was lacking a true wide receiver one he could trust. This will give him the wide receiver one he can trust. But once again, like for Lamar Jackson, it's now put up or shut up time if you're Baltimore, if you're Buffalo, right? You get rid of your coach, and now you give Josh Allen a true wide receiver one he can throw to. It is time. And I think honestly, between the two, I think the Bills are much closer than the Ravens. But can we trust Buffalo to get it done? They couldn't get it done this year. And clearly, they were the best team in the AFC this year. They just could not get it done. So we will see what they can do with DJ Moore. Also, I think another interesting trade too is the Texans went out and got David Montgomery, previously on the Lions, before on the Bears. He'll be their RB1. Now, granted, I think Woody Marks was frankly pretty good this year for Houston, and I kind of assumed he was going to take over for Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon fell off a cliff. Um, so I don't. It will certainly help their offense. However, this doesn't answer the questions about C.J. Stroud and who was awful in the playoffs this year. So C.J. Stroud will certainly have to improve a lot, considering that he completely wasted an amazing defense for Houston.
That's for sure. That's for sure. 100%.
Yeah, and then the last real question is what's going to happen to Kyler Murray because he is going to get cut by Arizona, but there's a lot of teams need a quarterback. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings apparently are thinking about moving on from J.J. McCarthy, which I'm going to be honest, I would give McCarthy one more year. I really would. He showed some promise in the back half of the season to me, but I think the Vikings are panicking because they decided to let Sam Darnold walk and he went and won the Super Bowl. So I think right now the Vikings are just in panic mode, and if they can get Kyler Murray, they might go get Kyler Murray. I think also like the Jets should look at him because I mean, let's be real, the Jets don't have a quarterback right now. The Dolphins don't have a quarterback right now. In theory, I mean, there's no real news on Tua right now, but I don't think the Dolphins can come back with Tua again. Then the question is, what do the Cardinals do at quarterback? Because I mean, outside of Fernando Mendoza, there's not really another bona fide starting quarterback from this year's rookie class, and there are several teams in desperate need of a quarterback.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is going to be a question mark because he's definitely didn't show a lot of commitment while as an Arizona Cardinal. So that's the big concern GMs and coaches are going to have.
But his talent is undeniable because he has shown he can play quarterback in
Yeah,
the NFL.
but we seen time and time again the commitment overshadows talent. Like a committed, somewhat talented beats a really talented, no commit player.
So, Gus, do you think the Jets should pursue him, or if not
Yes,
him, then
as a
what?
bridge quarterback. Yes, as a bridge quarterback. Yes,
Uh,
come in for a year, like Geno Smith, like even Sandarno did a couple of times. Come in, 1 year deal.
hmm. It'd be very interesting to see if Kyler Murray ends up being a bridge quarterback for sure. Yeah, it's interesting what he tweeted too because he's like, "I'm sorry that I couldn't be the guy to end the Cardinals' 77-year drought." So he kind of backhand slapped the Cardinals on the way out. Because if you think about it, the Cardinals are, one of the most incompetent franchises. They literally have never won anything ever. In 8 decades. It's actually really fascinating just how bad we don't talk enough about how bad the Arizona Cardinals are as an organization.
I mean, they still have nightmares about Santonio Holmes. I mean, fans down in Phoenix still having nightmares about the Santonio Holmes amazing catch. That
Oh,
was their chance.
100%. Yeah. Just it is truly
It's so funny.
fascinating.
It's so funny how franchises that play with red uniform and start they have a letter A as a start are cursed in the NFL after being really close to winning a Super Bowl.
Right. At least the Falcons have typically been better than the Cardinals, but like, yeah, not
I
particularly
mean,
great.
they came close in the NFC Championship after have the crazy uh, really amazing game against the Packers back in 2015, 2014, 2015.
Oh yeah, and then they got absolutely destroyed by the Panthers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see
Okay,
what
with the
happens.
we really had a Cardinals Panthers NFC Championship game 10 years ago.
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
talk about the most
Yeah.
random NFC Championship game possible.
And the
Um,
quarterbacks were Carson Palmer versus Ken Newton, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, correct.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Crazy time.
The Carson Palmer Cardinals were very good.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. And that's really the NFL stuff. So the last thing I'm going to bring up is Tyler Reddick with the three-peat in NASCAR. He is the first NASCAR driver ever to win the first free races of a season. Just truly unbelievable stuff. I mean, Michael Jordan's team is on an absolute tear right now because Reddick's first, and his teammate Bubba Wallace is second in the point standings. Just an incredible start for them. They'll race tomorrow at Phoenix. Today was the IndyCar race. They're doing a IndyCar and NASCAR are doing a double header this weekend at Phoenix Super Speedway. Joseph Newgarden won the IndyCar race today. And I really wish that IndyCar and NASCAR would do more of this. I think it's really cool when both series race at the same track on the same weekend. I think that's a great thing to show off American sports, especially because right now American racing is so much better than the F1. Because I don't know if you saw the new onboards from F1. They are the sounds of the new engines with gas with the battery powered engines are terrible. So it's just F1 is just not very good right now. But tomorrow they're going to Phoenix. Also, my last point I will make before we wrap up is I think we have seen at the end of Alex Bowman. He's out tomorrow in the 48 with vertigo. So I just bad start. He's already last in the point standings. It's just a disaster for the 48 crew. But Gus, that is all the time we have today for episode 223 of Two Countries, Two Americas, All Sports. Hopefully, brighter days are ahead for our sports teams.